Hello, this is Malcolm Bowden. I'd like to talk to you today about Joshua's long day that is recorded in Joshua chapter 10 verses 12 to 14. 5 kings were opposing him, but he won a great victory and was chasing them. But he needed more time to catch them and destroy them. Let me read that passage to you. On the day the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel, Joshua said to the Lord in the presence of Israel, O sun, stand still over Gibeon. O moon, over the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the nation avenged itself on its enemies. As it is written in the book of Jasher, the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. There has never been a day like it before or since. A day when the Lord listened to a man. Surely the Lord was fighting for Israel. Now, many people consider this a complete myth. It is just a Jewish folk tale in an attempt to boost their link with a miracle-working God. However, Geradas Bauer has collected stories of a long day or a long night from several tribes from around the world. Let me just give you a few examples. In Egypt, the Greek historian Herodotus recorded that when he visited Egypt, the priests there showed him an ancient manuscript that told the story of a day that lasted twice as long as a normal day. As they had accurate water clocks, they could record time. They could easily, therefore, record that a long day had taken place. And there are similar references to a long day in both China and in India. Several North American Indian tribes have accounts of long nights. The Ojibways, Wyandots and the Bungis tell of a long night. The Omahas tell of the sun being caught in a rabbit's trap and only released just before dawn. The Dogribs tell of the sun suddenly becoming dark at noon. Similarly, in South America, the Mexicans, Aztecs, Mayans and Peruvians, and in West Africa also, there are stories of a long night. Now, some may think that these stories have arisen because of the superstitious nature of ancient people. So if so, there would be surely a random distribution. One tribe might have fabricated a story of a long day, and a few miles away, another tribe might have a story of a long night. But that is not what we find, because there are 2 interesting features of these stories. First of all, if you plot the stories on a map of the world, you see quite quickly that they are gathered into 2 areas. The long day stories are gathered in one area, Egypt, China and India, and in the second area, North and South America, there are stories of a long night. Now you can plot the shadow of night and day as it travels around the world, and at that time of the year it is like a sine wave, a curve that rises to the north hemisphere and then falls to the south and then goes back to the north again as it travels round the earth. Now it is possible to move this shadow to such position that the shadow of night completely covers all the long night stories, and the daylight part of the curve on the upper section covers all the long day stories. Therefore, these stories cannot be random local myths, but a worldwide event that actually happened and is recorded in the folk stories of those people that actually experienced it. Now, the other point is that the exact position of the shadow is not certain. It can be moved within certain limits. However, there is one point that defines just where that shadow should be. Sir James Fraser records that on a hillside on an eastern island of Fiji, the natives tie the weeds together, quote, to stop the sun going down, as it is said that it once did. This places the edge of the shadow at this point, giving a more accurate position for where the sun stood still. From this, Gerardus Bauer calculates that the time was about 9 a.m. in Israel. Now, using the historic dates from these tribes, Bauer calculated that it was May the 18th to the 15th in 1448 BC, and that it started at about 9 a.m. for Joshua's long day to begin. Now, that's not the only interesting thing, but there's one or two points about the sun and the moon's movements. The word used for the sun was that it stopped. The Hebrew for that is damam, to be still, to die. Whilst the word used for the moon is slightly less strict, amad, which means to tarry, delay, remain, continue, abide, endure, persist, and be steadfast, which allows some movement. Crombett's translation of the Egyptian hieroglyphs specifically mentions the fact that the moon reduced its speed and climbed slowly. This would be in precise accord with the moon still continuing its slow relative movement to the sun, as it takes 29.4 days for one complete revolution of the moon around the earth, i.e., it moves about 12 degrees relative to the sun each day. It is this that gives us our phases of the moon and our changing tides. Again, in this small detail, there is further confirmation of this event. So what do we conclude? As with the story of the flood still existing in folk tales around the earth, so there are records of a long day or night that supports the biblical record of Joshua's forthright request of God. Indeed, there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. I hope you found that interesting. Thank you for listening.